You think she's talking to other guys. You see the notifications, the smiles at her phone, the casual mentions of friends, and your mind starts filling in the gaps. Doubt creeps in quietly, convincing you that you're just one option among many. But Marcus Aurelius taught that the truth of human behavior is rarely found in what is loud and obvious. It is found in what is consistent, restrained, and difficult to fake. What most men misinterpret as competition is often fear. Fear of attachment, fear of vulnerability, fear of losing control over her own emotions. When a woman is truly invested, she does not always move closer. Sometimes she pulls back, not because she wants someone else, but because one person has begun to matter too much. And if you know what to observe, not what to assume, you'll realize something important when these signs appear. You are not one of many. You are the one occupying her inner world. Marcus Aurelius believed that people reveal themselves through patterns, not promises. Through behavior, not words. If she were truly distracted by other men, her energy around you would diminish naturally. Interest fades easily when divided. But when you notice tension instead of indifference, restraint instead of freedom, and emotional inconsistency instead of clarity, you are not witnessing disinterest. You are witnessing internal conflict. This is where most men lose control. They react emotionally, seek reassurance, demand clarity, and in doing so, they destroy the very attraction that was forming. The Stoic path is different. It is calm observation without attachment to outcome. And that calm is exactly what deepens her fixation on you. Part 1 begins with the most misunderstood sign of all. She limits access to you, but never fully disconnects. She doesn't vanish. She doesn't cut ties. Instead, she delays replies, shortens conversations, or suddenly becomes busy, yet always returns. This is not the behavior of a woman chasing multiple men. A woman with many options has no emotional reason to come back consistently. Marcus Aurelius wrote that the soul becomes disturbed when it is divided against itself. Her behavior reflects that division. She wants distance because closeness is becoming dangerous to her emotional balance. But she cannot let you go because your presence has already anchored itself in her mind. If another man truly occupied her thoughts, your absence would bring relief. Instead, your absence creates discomfort. That is why she circles back again and again. A Stoic man does not chase during this phase. He does not punish with silence or beg with attention. He remains steady, calm, unmoved. This steadiness amplifies her inner tension. She begins to wonder why you are unaffected, why you do not demand clarity, why you do not compete. And slowly her thoughts begin revolving around you, not because you forced your way in, but because your emotional self-sufficiency made you unavoidable. Marcus Aurelius warned against placing your peace in the hands of others. Ironically, when you reclaim your peace, others begin to orbit around it. Part 2 reveals itself through her emotional slips. She accidentally reveals concern that exceeds logic. She asks subtle questions about your well-being, your routine, your future, then masks it as curiosity or humor. She notices changes in your tone. She remembers small details she had no reason to remember. These are not conscious strategies. They are leaks. A divided mind cannot perfectly maintain a mask. When a woman is emotionally invested in multiple men, her attention becomes shallow and fragmented. She forgets details. She repeats questions. She stays surface level. But when you are the only one in her head, her awareness sharpens. You occupy mental space even when you are not present. Marcus Aurelius taught that what we give our attention to shapes our inner world. Attention is effort. Effort is attachment. And attachment, when unacknowledged, creates anxiety. That anxiety is what causes her to act hot and cold, confident one day and distant the next. She is not unsure about you. She is unsure about herself around you. And the more composed you remain, the more her mind fills the silence you leave behind. She replays interactions, analyzes your words, wonders why you didn't react the way other men do. This mental replay is not happening with anyone else. It doesn't need to. Only you disrupted her emotional equilibrium. The mistake most men make at this stage is trying to lock it in. They confess feelings. They demand exclusivity. they seek verbal confirmation. Marcus Aurelius would call this surrendering control over what is not yours to command. Attraction grows in space, not pressure. When you allow her to resolve her own internal conflict without interference, you become the calm center she cannot escape. Other men become noise. You become presence. Remember this: a woman talking to other men feels free. A woman afraid of catching feelings feels restrained. If she were exploring options, her energy would expand outward. But when you are the only one in her head, her energy turns inward. She becomes reflective, cautious, emotionally guarded. Not because she doesn't care, but because she cares more than she planned to. And as Marcus Aurelius reminded himself daily, we must not be disturbed by things that are not within our control. Your power lies not in decoding every message, but in remaining grounded, disciplined, and unmoved. This is only the beginning. Because once you understand these early signs, you stop reacting emotionally and start observing strategically. And that shift alone changes everything. As things progress, Part 3 appears in a way most men completely misread. She becomes subtly possessive without claiming you. She doesn't ask, "Who are you talking to?" directly. Instead, she makes small comments. She lightly jokes about other women. She goes quiet when you mention someone new, then pretends nothing happened. This is not insecurity born from competition. This is emotional investment without permission. Marcus Aurelius wrote that the mind resists what threatens its sense of order. When you become emotionally significant, you disrupt her internal structure. She may still talk to other men casually, but none of them trigger this reaction. If another man truly mattered, she wouldn't feel the need to monitor you. Attention flows toward what we fear losing, not what we feel confident about. Her restraint is the tell. She wants information without exposure, control without confession, and the more you remain composed, the louder her silence becomes. A Stoic man understands that jealousy expressed indirectly is more revealing than affection expressed openly. She doesn't want to admit how deeply you affect her, because admission creates vulnerability. Vulnerability creates loss of control. So instead she watches, she measures, she tests emotional distance. And here is the crucial part: she does this only with the man who occupies her inner space. Other men are entertainment. You are risk. Marcus Aurelius believed that disturbance is proof of attachment. Her disturbance is quiet but constant, and it revolves around you. Part 4 is where her behavior begins to contradict her words. She may say she's not ready. She may say she wants to go with the flow. She may even say she doesn't want anything serious. Yet her actions tell a different story. She prioritizes your time. She adjusts her schedule for you. She becomes unusually responsive when it matters most. Words are easy to control. Behavior is not. A woman managing multiple emotional investments cannot maintain consistency with one man. But when you are the only one in her head, consistency leaks through even when she tries to suppress it. Marcus Aurelius reminded himself to observe what people do, not what they say about themselves. Her effort is the evidence. Effort is expensive. No one invests it without emotional return. This contradiction confuses most men. They hear her words and ignore her actions. They pull back too hard or confront too soon. The Stoic path is neither. It is patience with awareness. You let the contradiction exist without trying to resolve it. And this is where her fixation deepens. Because while she is trying to maintain emotional distance, you are not demanding closeness. While she is internally negotiating her feelings, you are stable, predictable, grounded. That contrast creates safety. And safety is what turns emotional tension into attachment. She begins to associate calm with you, relief with you, emotional regulation with you. Other men stimulate, you stabilize, and stability over time becomes irreplaceable. Marcus Aurelius understood that people are drawn to those who are at peace with themselves. When you don't chase clarity, she begins to seek it internally, and that internal seeking always leads back to you. Part 5 emerges when she starts sharing parts of herself she doesn't share widely. Not dramatic confessions, not grand emotional speeches, small truths, frustrations, doubts, personal stories that reveal how she sees the world. This is not accidental. Vulnerability is selective. A woman does not emotionally open to multiple men at the same depth simultaneously. It's too costly. When you become the one she confides in, you are no longer competing. You are positioned above the noise. Marcus Aurelius wrote that the soul naturally moves toward what feels aligned. Emotional alignment cannot be faked for long. Notice how she chooses you during moments of emotional fluctuation. When she's overwhelmed, uncertain, or reflective, she comes to you, not for solutions, for presence. This is the clearest indicator that you are the only one in her head, because when emotions rise, the mind seeks its anchor, and she has chosen you as hers. Other men may exist in her orbit, but they are not her refuge. They are distractions. You are orientation. At this stage, the greatest danger is ego. Feeling chosen tempts men to relax their discipline, to seek validation, to test power. Marcus Aurelius warned against becoming intoxicated by external approval. Your strength lies in remaining unchanged by her increasing attachment. The moment you shift your center toward her reactions, the dynamic weakens. But if you remain consistent, emotionally contained, and present without pressure, her attachment matures naturally. Understand this clearly. A woman who is unsure about you creates distance. A woman who is afraid of losing herself to you creates restraint. Restraint is heavier, more deliberate, and far more revealing. She is not managing options. She is managing emotions. And those emotions have one source: you. These signs do not mean you rush forward. They mean you slow down internally. You observe. You remain grounded. Because once a woman's inner world starts revolving around you, the outcome is no longer something you need to force. It will reveal itself. And the man who remains stoic through this phase is the man who keeps his position without ever asking for it. Part 6 is revealed when her emotional awareness of you becomes sharper than her awareness of herself. She senses shifts in your mood before you explain them. She asks if something is wrong even when you've said nothing. She reacts to your silence not with anger, but with quiet concern. This is not intuition. It is attention refined by attachment. Marcus Aurelius wrote that the mind becomes colored by whatever it dwells upon most. When you are the dominant presence in her thoughts, her perception tunes itself to you automatically. This level of awareness cannot be maintained for multiple men at once. It requires focus, emotional energy, presence. And presence is always selective. She may still appear independent. She may still act composed. But internally, you have become a reference point. Your reactions matter more than you realize. Your approval, even unspoken, carries weight. That is why she becomes cautious around you. She chooses her words more carefully. She hesitates before speaking. Not because she is afraid of you, but because she is afraid of misstepping. Fear only appears where value already exists. If she were emotionally invested elsewhere, your opinion would not carry this gravity. Indifference is easy. Awareness is costly. The Stoic response here is restraint. You do not exploit this awareness. You do not test it. You do not withdraw affection to provoke reassurance. Marcus Aurelius warned that using another's weakness for advantage ultimately weakens the self. Your power is not in control, it is in consistency. By remaining emotionally even, you become the stable ground her mind keeps returning to. Other men fade not because you compete, but because you do not. They require effort, you require presence. Part 7 is the final and most decisive sign. She begins to imagine a future that quietly includes you. Not through direct statements, but through subtle alignment. She speaks about plans and possibilities in a way that leaves space for you. She references later, eventually, someday, without specifying who will be there. But you are implied. She asks questions about your values, your direction, how you see life. These are not casual questions. They are placement questions. She is subconsciously checking whether you fit into the version of her future she is beginning to envision. Marcus Aurelius believed that the future is shaped by what we rehearse internally. When a woman begins rehearsing a future with you in it, even abstractly, you are no longer temporary in her mind. At this stage, other men are irrelevant. They do not exist in her forward thinking. They are confined to the present moment. You have crossed into continuity, and continuity is the foundation of emotional commitment. What makes this powerful is that she may never say it out loud. She may still resist labeling. She may still protect her independence. But internally, the decision is forming. And the more you remain grounded, self-directed, and emotionally regulated, the more natural that decision becomes. Marcus Aurelius reminded himself that nothing is more attractive than a person who governs themselves. Your self-mastery gives her permission to trust what she feels without fear of chaos. Now comes the ending most men misunderstand. When you realize you are the only one in her head, you do not tighten your grip. You loosen it. You stop monitoring. You stop analyzing every interaction. You return your focus to your own purpose, your own discipline, your own inner order. Because the paradox Marcus Aurelius lived by is this: the less you try to control outcomes, the more powerfully they align in your favor. If she chooses you, it will not be because you demanded certainty. It will be because you embodied it. If she commits, it will not be because you eliminated competition. It will be because there was none inside her mind. And if she ever walks away, you will remain unshaken, because your identity was never built on her response. That is Stoic strength. Calm without detachment, presence without need, confidence without noise. When you master this, you no longer fear whether she's talking to other guys, because you understand something deeper. Attention follows stability, emotion follows composure, and the man who governs himself will always occupy the most valuable place of all, the inner world of another human being.